All right, this week we've got something extra special for you. Well, people often ask me, you're a mathematician, what sort of mathematician are you? Well, I'm a geometer. So here, geometry, special t-shirt today. And today I want to show you, part of my mathematical toy collection, which is mostly geometrical. Okay, so it's mainly about these sorts of contortionist cubes that probably everybody here is familiar with. So have a look at one of those things. I mean, just in case you don't remember, this one here is kind of maths themed. It's got a times table on it. And what it can do is it can transform like so into something different, right? This one is a bit new, so it jars a little bit. But basically you've got this cube here, and I can go backwards, and you see the colors change. Now, you've seen these. I think everybody's played with them, or most people have played with them. Now, what gets a little bit lost with all these designs here and the different pictures that usually on top of them is something really amazing. And I've just highlighted this by kind of getting rid of all the pictures here. So I've just made the whole surface here white. Okay, so what you see here is white. And now I'm going to basically turn it, right? And when I turn it, actually, when I'm actually finished with turning, what's happened is that the white has turned into the black. So what's really going on here is that the cube turns inside out. So it's made up of 8 little cubes, and every one of the little cubes, 3 of the faces, the 3 faces that you see here, are colored black, and then the other 3 faces are colored white. And the cube, the big cube, is hinged together in such a way that you can turn this whole thing inside out. Very nice. So that's what's really happening. Okay, now there's actually a couple of different ways in which you can hinge these things together, and there's some nice mathematics there, but that's not what I want to talk about today. There's actually one step up from this, and I want to show you that one here. This thing here is one of the highlights of my collection. It's a real miracle. It's actually a cube like this. So it's colored, one color outside, one color inside. In this case, it's silver and gold. Okay, so let's just take it out. So it's silver on the outside. And now I'm just going to turn it into the gold. So here we go. Now it's gold. All right. Again, it's a bit stiff. And now, but it can actually do a few more things. Okay, so let's just flex it again. And you can already see there's something weird happening here. Oops. So the whole thing kind of comes apart into 2 parts. And actually, when you fold those up, you get a star here and you get a star there. And even better, so you can turn these guys here inside out. And then this star here turns into a cube. Well, let's just see. This thing turns into a cube. And that one here turns into a cube too. So now you've got 2 cubes where there was only one originally. I mean, how good is that, right? Okay, and actually, I mean, these are of course hollow cubes. So if you actually look inside, you can see, well, those stars that we see here, they actually fit right in there, right? So I mean, I could just kind of slide the star in here. The only problem is I can't really close it at this point in time. So for that, I have to fit the two pieces here together in the right way. I mean, just have a look at it just like this. It's exactly the same. At this point in time, I actually can't slide them together. So what I have to do is I have to turn this thing like that. Now this looks slightly different, right? So there's walls here, there's no walls there. And at this point in time, I can take this and recombine it, and then it's just the normal thing again. Okay, so what's going on here? So let's just get the star out again. Okay, so stars out. So there's the stars out. Just want to have a really close look at this star. Okay, so this star. When you actually have a look around here, there's lots of these stars you can see, right? So I've got one that's here, and I've got another one. So I've got one here, I've got one here. I've got a lot more on this side here. So what's this star? Well, this star is something very special. It's got a name in mathematics. It's called a stellated rhombic dodecahedron. Well, that's quite a mouthful. So what is it actually? What makes this cube work? Okay, so let's have a really, really close look at a cube, like a cube. So what I've got here is 6 pieces that you can combine into a cube. So basically, one side of the cube is this, and then what you see here is a kind of a pyramid going into the middle of the cube. Okay, and there's 6 sides to the cube, and so from these 6 sides of the cube, there's these 6 pyramids going into the middle, and then when you combine these parts here, you actually build a cube. Right? So that's a complete cube. Now I have to get it apart again, and so now they're back. Okay. And so the secret behind this stellated rhombic dodecahedron, well, a star, let's call it a star, is that we can combine these 6 pieces into 2 halves of the cube in a special way. So let's just do this, okay? So I can put 2 of these guys together. Now I can put that one in too. And then I've actually got half of the cube here. And I can put the other 2 or the other 3 together in exactly the same way. And I've got now 2 parts of the cube. And these 2 parts of the cube now fit together like this. So if I slide them together, the cube will be complete. Okay? And now, if we actually have a really, really close look, I can kind of put them together like this, and you can already see kind of part of the star here emerging, right? I've actually 3D printed quite a few of these things, so I can show you. So we put 2 of them together. There's 8 of them, so the original big cube consists of these 8 little ones, and so every single one of the little ones gets split into half, right? And then it's just hinged together in such an ingenious way that the whole thing actually comes apart into these 2 different stars. Okay, so there's this star here. So that's how you get it. Well, while we're at it, I might as well kind of explain a couple of side miracles here, okay? So we're going to do a couple of side miracles. So let's just get rid of the star and do something slightly different, and then get back to the star. So there's actually a second way of combining 3 of these guys into 2 halves. So if I just remove like the yellow part here and attach it like that, now if I remove the white part here and attach it like this, we get kind of 2 different parts here. And we can also slide them together. So if I kind of go like this, and I go like that, I can actually slide the 2 parts together, and that will be a different way of kind of splitting the cube up into 2 parts based on the same pyramids, right? So based on the same pyramids. And well, this is actually something that, well, maybe some people will recognize, some people will recognize. So I've got another version of it here, again 3D printed, and I'm just going to slide them together. Okay, so let's just do this. So if you put them together like this, and just press, they come together. And maybe now it's a bit clearer what I'm talking about. Have you seen this sort of setup before, Giuseppe? No? Well, actually, this is just kind of a square version of what you see in a tennis ball. Right? So, when you kind of just follow this curve around, it's very much like in the tennis ball. And I've actually cut this thing open, and there you see the 2 different parts here, right? The 2 different parts. And well, I've also done something else, which is kind of neat, which is I've actually taken a tennis ball like this, which is hollow, and then kind of filled in the bits in the middle, so that when you slide the 2 parts together, you get a complete ball. Okay, so you get a complete ball. And that is actually something, so that's what this looks like. So that's how you have to extend things to the middle, so that things fit together nicely. So you kind of fit them together like this, and then you get something very, very nice. And what you see there is actually yin and yang. So the tennis ball curve, is basically just the 3D version of yin and yang. So that was my first kind of side miracle here. You know, that's also something that you basically can't see anywhere else. We made this up, right? So it's the kind of the 3D yin and yang here. And it's all part of this, you know, geometry that we're talking about here. Okay, so now let's just get back to our star. And I just want to show you a few other things that this star can do. Okay, so star based on this way of splitting up the cube. Okay, so that's important. So let's just do something else with the star. The star actually comes up quite a bit. If you just keep your eyes open, you'll actually find the star in all sorts of places. So for example, where do you think I found this one, Giuseppe?
Toy Store?
Close. The dog toy department. Now I found it somewhere else. Just recently in the reject shop here, I got this itsy bitsy puzzle eraser pack, and there's the star. And I've actually got a wooden version of this. It's actually quite famous, and I think quite a few people who've seen have seen this before. So it's this sort of wooden puzzle here, right? And when you kind of go like this, it just falls apart, and it falls apart into 6 identical pieces. Okay, so 6 identical pieces. Now, when you try to combine them, what you do is you basically do it one at a time, or everybody tries to do it one at a time. So now we are at this stage here, and we have to fit the last guy in. Okay, so we have to fit the last guy in, and that's actually pretty much impossible at this stage. Right? And so the way to get this thing together is actually based on this way of splitting the cube into 2 parts. Okay, so the thing to see here is that one of the pyramids here is actually visible right here in the center of one of those pieces. Okay, so we can see it right here. These guys here, they combine exactly into the cube as these 6 pieces here. Okay, so the way we're going to do it is actually to arrange the big pieces just like one of those halves, so that we see one of those halves in the middle. Okay, so let's just do this. So we kind of go like this, we go like that, and now what we've got is like a little propeller. Okay, so we've got a propeller, and in the middle we've got one of those halves. And now what we do is we create a second propeller like this. So we kind of go like this. It's a bit tricky. And like that. And we've created a second propeller. Now this propeller is actually not the one we want. Because the propeller is both propellers are going the same direction, right? So what we want is 2 propellers that are going in opposite directions. So let's just take this piece out and put it in on the other side. Wait, let's bring it back. So now the propellers are going in different directions, okay? And now what you can do is, you can just line up these 2 halves that you see in the middle, the 2 halves of the cube like that, and slide the whole thing together. And that's it. So if you've got like lots of these cubes, identical, you can just put them right next to you. You gotta just like, you know, like build a brick wall and you can fill a whole wall. So you can fill the whole space, all of space, right? Seamlessly. You can do the same with these stars. So if you have a lot of these stars, you can fit them together seamlessly to fill all of space. And it comes a little bit, I mean, it's almost obvious when you look at this guy here. And we just kind of put 2 halves together. So kind of put the 2 halves together, right? So what you can see here, I hope, is, well, you see these 2 boxes, okay? Now, what we can obviously do is we can kind of fill the space here. If I had 2 boxes, I could put them here on top, okay? And then I could just use these boxes and fill the whole of space, right? But what you can see at the same time is that when we've kind of put the boxes together, there's like holes here, which can be filled with one sort of star. And what you can see here in the middle, there's another star forming already, right? So when we put all the boxes together, we'll actually have like lots and lots of solid stars already with gaps that are stars themselves. And then if you kind of put the stars in, you've got a whole space filled up, right? So that works. And actually, Well, kind of going back to this puzzle here, I bought all the puzzles in the shop and actually got myself like lots of these things. I actually combined all the colors together, like lots of these. And with these, I can actually kind of start making one of those space fillings, which is a lot of neat. So I'll just start with this. So here's one of those halves, right? There's another one of those halves, so I just kind of fit them together like that. And I can actually start building a tower like this. And you can see that the tower is already solid here in the middle, right? So the tower is solid in the middle. And then maybe we do a different tower. So we'll do another tower here. So that tower and that tower. And now I just see how I can fit those two guys together. So there you can see they fit really nicely together. Right? And if I had another tower here, that would just go straight in here. So like these things that are jutting out here, they fit into these gaps here. Right? And they just keep on going. Like, let's just put one in, okay? So there. So that goes in here. Right? And there we've got another one. And that goes right there. Right? And you can kind of just continue like this and fill all of space. And obviously nobody knows about these things.
Now they do.
Now they do. So we've got like a main miracle, right? And then we've got all these side miracles. And they're all based on really, really, nice little facts about the cube that nobody knows about. Now, I leave you with another one of those things that does something amazing. This is a special kind of ball. Okay, this is a special kind of ball. When I do this, it turns inside out. When I do that, it turns inside out again. And this guy here, although it looks like a ball, is actually based on a cube.